And with that, we are going to now bring you another production of Platinum House.
Hello, my name is Tony Sotera, and I'm the director of Theatricos Theater Company's production of The Platinum House by Pat and Bob Reynolds. Our story is somewhat of a coming-of-age tale. Well, actually, a coming-of-old-age tale involving 4 women in their 80s and their pursuit of a more fulfilling life. Our cast includes Linda Sotera as Marge, Virginia Brown as Nancy, Ann Cummins as Emily, Kelly Gibbs as Pat, Amanda Delano as Amelia, Brian Shea as Bill, Daniel Wilson as Brad, and I will be your narrator. So without further ado, I present to you The Platinum House. Scene 1. 4 women in their 80s casually play bridge at a table in a sunny Florida great room.
I'm Marge, a lifetime workaholic and world champion optimist. I'm still fit and I love yoga, Eastern philosophy, and meditation. Om.
I'm Nancy. I'm pretty clueless about most things. I come from a poor family and didn't have many advantages growing up, so I turned to the Bible for protection against the world. I love to play bridge though, and I really like my bridge partners. I hope they like me too.
I'm Emily. Some say I'm Emily. I'm a realist. Some say a dark realist. I'm a fan of T.S. Eliot, The Wasteland, Prufrock. I have heard the mermaids singing each to each. I do not think that they will sing to me.
I'm Pat. I'm short, like Napoleon, and my mouth definitely needs a zipper. You might call me the ringleader of this crew. I try to hold the group together with tough love. The things we had to give up in those days to please the male world, political, religious, economic, and social. We played their game in the 50s, 60s, and 70s to get access to their world. And where has that gotten us? Men can't live with them, can't have children without them. We're still second-class citizens. And we're old. We played along and were played, lost ourselves as nurturing women, and sold out the futures of our daughters' daughters.
Access is everything.
We only had access to what our husbands in the church deemed fit.
I finally got a good hand.
Thank God you bid game and made it happen. We aren't doing dishes tonight.
4 hearts, maybe it's an omen.
The girls lay down their cards. Marge and Nancy have beaten Emily and Pat.
I hate dishes. Do any of you have any plans for the weekend?
I'm going to the new Colin Firth movie. He's my favorite. I wouldn't kick him out of bed unless Clooney was waiting in the wings.
Oh, Pat, you always have to talk like that.
Is sex your favorite subject?
No, I prefer food and money.
And what are you doing, Nancy?
I have my Bible study group.
How many times a week do you study your Bible?
6, but I'd like to go more.
You know those are just stories, right?
Jesus wouldn't lie to us.
Of course he lies to us, but you still got to believe him anyway.
That's silly.
Yes, it is.
I want to make a proposal. And don't say no in the middle. Hear me out.
I gotta go pee. I gotta go pee.
Nancy runs to the bathroom.
Do you think Nancy has a bladder problem?
Oh, I think she gets nervous around us, especially when we challenge her beliefs.
Oh, and that excites her urinary tract? Anyway, isn't that what real friends are supposed to do? Challenge one another? The purpose of Zen is the perfection of character.
Oh.
Marge, Zen's as whack as the Bible. The perfection of character, please.
Okay, maybe we'll just twiddle our thumbs while waiting.
Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water.
Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after.
I love that part about Jack breaking his crown.
Nancy returns, tucking in her blouse.
Ooh, sorry. What'd I miss?
Pat was proposing that we have a sleepover and try a menage a quatre.
Oh, no, that's silly. I don't even know what a menage a trois is.
You're half right, Emily. I was thinking we each pay exorbitant taxes, assessments and maintenance fees, all to live in big empty houses alone. With the exception of this bridge game, I live by myself most of the week. Emily, you have 4 bedrooms. We could pay you rent, still have private rooms, and not be so isolated.
That's crazy, Pat. We'd murder each other within a month.
Ha, a week.
I haven't lived with anyone in years, and I pray at all hours of the night. Would that be an issue?
Does your head spin with vomit or Bible verses coming out?
Do you speak in tongues or scream gibberish in Russian?
Only on Sundays.
Do you watch TV evangelists at all hours of the day with the volume loud?
No, but I like to wash my feet from time to time when they're dirty and sing songs to the Lord and fish.
Sing out loud?
We shall gather at the river, beautiful, beautiful river. Oh, we shall gather at the river and drown all the sinners in mud.
I like it. And you have a melodious voice and catchy phrasing. You'll have to teach us that ditty someday.
Fish?
I like to pretend I'm one of the disciples fishing.
That makes sense, like a fisher of men.
No, I just like to eat fish.
I'd have to think about it. I do have the only viable space, but I've always contemplated dying alone, usually by suicide, not found for weeks, alarmingly smelly, a la Virginia Woolf.
How cliche. But you're right, Emily. Most elderly people do die alone, not found for days, and that's actually kind of sad.
The Buddhist philosopher Nagarjuna said, things derive their being in nature by mutual interdependence and are nothing in themselves.
Meaning?
Meaning, we could give each other so much. Live out our final days with a laugh or two, a sense of dignity, perhaps even mutual interdependence.
If you weren't such an optimist, Marge, I'd smother you in your sleep.
Perfect. She'd be just down the hall when you got the urge.
I shared a tiny house, smaller than this, with 11 people when I was growing up. I slept on the porch with my 2 sisters on a musty old sofa. It was crowded, but it was sure full of life. It was the best and the worst time of my life. We could share expenses, save a little money. It's only 4 adults.
Only?
We can still escape each morning, go our separate ways, play tennis, walk, attend yoga and Bible study classes, shop, whatever.
4 might work.
I'm listening for the voice of God.
As usual, Pat, you seem to be getting what you want.
Who, me?
Okay, here's a counter argument, and it's not negotiable. You rent your homes for 1 year and we'll try this 1960s communal experiment. If it doesn't work, we'll flip back to the way it was. No harm, no foul. We'll have a simple vote, with my vote counting for 5. Then I can die in a room of my own peacefully with just my books and a properly punctuated suicide note.
Now that's a perfectly commonsensical assessment of the situation. My
Oh.
dear Emily, you were always the best read amongst us.
Flattery will get you everywhere, Pat. Marge, what do you think?
I don't want to die alone. Card nights are the highlight of my week, and we're beginning to become friends, aren't we?
Nancy?
Jesus just whispered amen in my ear.
Amen.
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 Scene 2, the first breakfast. Morning shines in on the 4 roommates as they eat breakfast. They pass around a cereal box.
Who bought this cereal?
I did. There were so many choices that I just waited until a brand spoke to me. I just stood in the cereal aisle waiting until I heard a voice.
Spoke to you.
Well, that's a pet peeve of mine. A whole aisle of cereal, sugarless, gluten-free, raw, fake this, real that. I can't even see the fine print, let alone understand all the sciencey words. So yeah, I listened for a voice.
The brand Sweet Baby Jesus likes?
God knows everything, so why wouldn't he know breakfast cereal?
I was just wondering because this has that manufactured sweetener saccharin that kills rats and last Christians in lab experiments.
Saccharin used to be in Tab, that crushed glass toxic cola drink, remember?
It tasted like a bubbly death fizz.
God spoke to you about this brand of cereal?
I couldn't see the fine print, so I listened.
Even a good thing isn't as good as nothing.
A Zen quote.
What is the sound of one hand clapping?
A Zen koan.
How did you know that?
I took a comparative religion course a decade ago.
No, quite an impressive open mind, Nancy.
Nope. I just wanted ammo to defend the Lord.
And how's that working for you?
Okay, I guess. I now know what to say if someone brings up the Santa Claus hypothesis.
I'm not even going to ask.
I'm going to. What is the Santa Claus hypothesis?
That God and Santa are invisible, white-haired old men looking down on us, judging whether we've been naughty or nice, and bringing gifts based on our daily behavior, usually on Christmas Day.
One's a myth for adults and one for kids.
Yeah, but one has fake reindeer and the other real disciples.
It's a yin yang.
Okay, if we survive this breakfast, we'll probably survive the year, but in the future, maybe bacon and eggs might be easier.
It's like the Last Supper, but it's the first breakfast.
I wonder if the disciples celebrated their first breakfast with Fruit Loops.
I've yet to see that painting hanging in the museums.
Andy Warhol might have attempted something like it, but it was Wheaties box.
He did soup cans. Why not Wheaties boxes?
He did Marilyn Monroe too.
Everyone did Marilyn Monroe.
Hey, remember, happiness is a warm puppy.
Charles Schultz.
Good for you, Marge. You see happiness everywhere.
Each moment is charged with life.
Even in a cereal aisle?
God is everywhere. Why wouldn't he be in the cereal aisle?
My pet peeve is when people younger than me call me sweetie or dearie, or worse, when they hold my hand crossing the street. I'd like to headbutt them into oncoming traffic, especially if it's cop. They should be taking care of more important things, right?
Like corrupt city officials?
Oh, don't get me started on Chicago politics. Stalin would have envied Mayor Daley's tightly managed bureaucracy.
My pet peeve is we elect representatives who don't represent us. Human nature is so easily corrupted. It's as if selling out was our national pastime.
That's how power politics has always been. You're either with them or against them, and you damn sure don't want to be against them.
The crazed avant-garde writer Charles Bukowski wrote a short story titled, "Politics is like screwing a cat in the ass."
Wait, who would ever do such a thing?
Don't knock it till you tried it.
Poor kitty.
It's just a figure of speech, Nancy.
I have to go to the bathroom. Don't do anything without me.
Leaves.
My Jack scoffed at the way the political system works. It put him into an early grave. He was so depressed. He wanted to believe in the lies of the mainstream media and even faked it for the kids, but deep down he was unhappy. It ate him up. Stress leads to cancer. I tried to balance his depression with false sense of happiness for the sake of the family.
Nancy reappears and continues a thought.
It'll be okay. I just know it will. Whatever it is, if we pray.
Nancy, where do you think our role models for God came from? Maybe those ancient exalted fellows who were the only ones allowed to read or write for 99% of recorded history?
And why do we call God the Father? Would a father let 29,000 children die each day due to preventable illnesses, poor water access, and lack of food?
If God was a woman, she wouldn't let that happen.
Maybe we should let the children have their turn around at running the world.
Really, Emily, children running the world.
Do you believe Jesus is God?
I don't know. Of course I do. Don't I?
Well, life's confusing. It's hard to know anything for sure these days.
But I'm truly happy when I read the Bible.
You go, girl. Find that warm puppy and curl up next to it.
Pascal said, the eyes with which we see God are the same eyes with which God sees us. I find correlations and affinities everywhere.
Don't use big words to knock my religion.
Oh, Nancy, I hate all religions equally. Yours just happens to make sacrificial lambs of us all.
You mean sheep. Go ahead and say it, Emily. If we're going to live together, we should be honest with one another.
Like you are?
Nancy, it's possible you believed what you needed to believe in order to be at peace in your community.
Can't we please go back to talking about cereal boxes?
One of my pet peeves is when people change the subject just when things start to become interesting.
Oh, well, how about them Cubs?
The big print giveth and the small print taketh away. Ironically, when it comes to cereal boxes, I can't see the fine print either. So instead of listening, I buy whatever's on sale. It's just variations of cardboard and sugar.
Pete Seeger said, education is what you get when you read the fine print. Experience is what you get if you don't.
Oh,
Lawyers.
frickin' lawyers.
Amelia bursts through the front door. Her chauffeur, Jones, unseen, hands her boxes through the door.
Oh God, she's here. My Amelia, the private contractor's surveillance expert I told you about.
Aha, mommy dearest. We can do introductions later. We've got a lot to do and very little time to do it in. Jones, be back in 6 minutes. Mother, I've come to properly situate you. I hope you kept your own bedroom. You know I can afford a new home for you if you want. You don't need to share your house with strangers.
They're not strangers, they're my friends.
How quaint.
We're settled in. Thanks, sweetie.
All right then. Peapod will be dropping off a delivery every Tuesday. It's healthy gourmet meals, and if you work it into your diet, you'll live longer. The junk you can get yourself.
Honey Pie, we only eat junk. We're trying to die off as soon as possible to benefit our greedy heirs.
Ha ha. You must be the funny one.
Stuck up bitch says what?
What? What?
Is Jones your lover, dear?
Here's a list of the local doctors. I've researched them all and ranked them. They're concierge doctors, well respected. Send me the bill, Mother.
No, she still refuses to listen to anyone.
Interesting, that wasn't a denial about Jones.
No, it wasn't.
Are these local doctors expensive?
Starting Monday, you'll receive the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, USA Today, and the local paper so you won't have to fight.
We love to fight, Cupcake. It keeps us young.
Amelia, we don't want your periodicals. We have everything we need.
Mother, I don't have time for your objections.
Amelia, are you always so nice?
I try.
People who don't understand sarcasm are awesome.
Wait, what?
Oh, my kids would never try to run my life.
Nor mine. And if they did, bam.
You're welcome. I was born to help. Ta-ta, Mommy dearest. I hope this situation goes well. Kick them out if you want. I have very competent lawyers.
Say hi to Jones for us.
She scares me.
He's a cannibal.
I get the New York Times.
I almost forgot. I brought you all a gift. It's a lifeline. Don't ever take it off or you'll die.
That sounds like a threat.
What's a lifeline?
It's a medic alert system attached to your body.
I don't want to thank her. I want to obliterate her.
When did she become so controlling?
No, I can't entirely blame her. She's been taking care of me since she was 3, when she ran warm, not hot baths.
Oh.
She always put the pieces of the puzzle back into place for me.
Maybe we can donate our lifelines to a retirement community.
Well, let's at least have Amelia back to plan our funerals.
She means well.
So did Hitler.
Oh, she's not that bad, Pat.
She's pretty bad, and I don't have kids.
And you love everyone, Nancy.
I know, right?
Like 3-day-old fish.
3 weeks.
3 months.
I did indulge her a little.
A little.
Oh,
Scene 3, getting to know you. Marge stretches in the down doggy pose on a mat. Pat secretly clips toenails into an empty cereal box. Emily fusses with dishes while Nancy reads her Bible. It's a new day.
Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day.
I got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. Oh, that's when a musical was really a musical. Songs that stayed with you, some even to this day. To dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to go where the brave dare not let you, to meet the unmeetable me.
Sure, Pat, that's the Roger and Hammerstein's version.
Well, I forgot some of it. I forget things from time to time. Don't you?
I remember everything selectively.
People who need people are the luckiest people in the world. Oh, that could be our theme for this little experiment.
This first few months has been tolerable, but I still hate the never-ending dishes.
you're used to your privacy. It's been a win-win for me so far. I love that you let me sing.
Thanks, Emily, for sharing your home with us. I'm staying busy in between meals with my favorite ladies, and please leave the dishes. I'll do them.
Nope, I'm trying to grow. I hated dishes when they were just mine, and now that we've got 4 sets, I really hate them. But growth without pain never lasts. Right, Marge?
You've been reading my Zen books.
They are next to the toilet.
You do love to hate, don't you, Emily?
It's good to love something, Pat, but I'm working on that part of me too.
Hate is just volatility awaiting transformation. Turn that hate energy into love energy. Yin yang, your internal perspective and your outer circumstances will change as well. Oh.
Hate is love, war is peace. Orwell's 1984 is still the most relevant novel we have. It takes the idea of doublethink to a new level. Ignorance is knowledge, freedom is slavery, and truth is lies.
Cognitive dissonance for idiots. Hey, that's not a bad title for a coffee table book.
They should make a musical out of 1984 with high stomping leather boots.
Or Animal Farm with all those cute little Stalinist pigs.
Oh, I remember when I was grieving for Bill and trying to stay strong. I'd go to church and couldn't cry, even with my shrink. I was dry. Then Les Mis opened and that show broke the dam, sobbing the whole way. I saw it 4 times all over the world. It was my therapy and cost almost as much too. On my own, pretending he's inside of me.
Inside me.
Pat's X-rated version of everything.
I sometimes pretend, fantasize, whatever you call it, about another time and place, and even Jack.
Why batteries are always on your grocery list.
I can't control my dreams, Pat. Sometimes the dam breaks and washes over me. The invisible world's a strange and wonderful place, and sometimes more real than this one.
What's wrong, Nancy?
I've never read 1984 or Animal Farm or Zen books, but I've studied the Bible to death. I rarely know what the heck you all are talking about.
Heck,
That's why we're trying this experiment to expand our horizons. Nancy, you make me think about the wondrous stories in the Bible, and I hope my Zen books next to the toilet help with your regularity.
I'm taking classes at Second City when I go back to Chicago this summer to help expand my wings. They teach storytelling, stand-up, and improv. We could all go back to school and learn a thing or two.
There's a safe zone I am afraid to leave. Old habits are hard to break.
That's why you've got to break them, otherwise they control you. Do a jujitsu trick on your mind.
Marge claps in front of Nancy's face.
Awake.
Awake,
Awake,
Awake?
awake.
awake,
Awake.
awake.
Oh. Oh.
Remember when a standing ovation meant something? It was rare. It was only for the best of the best. Now Trevor Noah and Colbert get 2 minutes of mayhem just for showing up. It's crazy. It's so undeserved. It's like kids getting trophies for everything under the sun. None of it makes sense. Everyone's special, everyone's entitled, and no one loses any more.
Well, you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, do you?
Why not?
We're all the stars of our own TV show. It's called Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Don't get me started on social media.
Sorry, I like Facebook. I want to see what friends and family are doing.
Well, someday you might not want to see all they're doing.
I like Facebook too.
We lived in the best of times. The war was over, the economy was booming, cars showed up in every driveway. When we flew, we dressed up. Flying was a treat. It was something special. We were served dinner on white tablecloths, and the simplistic 50s allowed our backwardness to accelerate into the radical 60s.
Touche.
Let's not sugarcoat it. Gays were still in the closet. We were prejudiced, but didn't think so. We liked our black cleaning lady, but didn't pay her much. Sex was a no-no, and only after marriage, and only to make babies. Laughter in public had to be polite and ladylike. At least we all had TVs.
Not my family. I used to stand in front of the appliance store and watch Peter Pan and Snow White and Sleeping Beauty for hours.
That's so sad.
It was.
Now we get to watch election coverage for years, 24/7, ad nauseum, until we're guilt tripped into voting for the lesser of two evils. Nancy, were you ever resentful of your circumstances?
I used to be until I found Jesus. He was so much poorer than me, and all he ever wanted was for us to love one another. He practiced what he preached, a pretty simple idea that doesn't hurt anyone.
Jesus was fine, but what they did to him and the direction organized religion has taken him is whack.
I know you love everyone here, Nancy, but deep down, do you feel any resentment for having less?
No, I feel fine.
What's yearning inside of you to get out?
I remember being 5 or 6, standing in front of the appliance store for a whole TV show until I became aware of the pathetic nature of my nose rubbing up against the window. Wanting until the show ended. And then with the credits rolling, I'd turn with tears in my eyes and be angry at my father. Why couldn't he get us a TV set? Why couldn't we be normal? I still cry myself to sleep from shame. I had a real hate in my heart for my father, for not providing everything my schoolmates had. In the end, I needed Jesus and his poverty to save me from drowning in my own guilt.
I'm sorry. We never knew.
Nancy, you're the best. Your loving attitude keeps me upbeat. It's hard to be depressed around you. All I read about is death and destruction, and you have such a wonderful halo of light.
I sometimes wonder why I worked my ass off all my life. I was afraid of not having enough. I just wanted to be normal and have all the attachments that go with being a good citizen. I was brainwashed into being the type of person I didn't even like. I missed out on my prime years chasing the dream. I'm only now in the final chapter starting to incorporate the yin and yang. You're so lucky, Nancy, to have experienced the peaks and valleys in one lifetime.
I never believed in myself. I always felt less than other kids. They talked about Christmas, birthdays, toys, and we had nothing. I never felt pretty. I never flirted. I never looked good in a dress.
I understand that feeling. I truly do.
I felt that way inside, even though I had all the stuff on the outside. That's why I'm searching Eastern philosophy for answers to my inner emptiness.
My mom took me to get a graduation dress and then told me I was short and would never look good in clothes. And I never have, even at my wedding.
Oh, we're all so screwed. I'll never be envious again. We don't know another person's backstory until we walk a mile in their Cinderella slippers.
When we relate, we forgive.
Did Jesus say that?
I don't know, but that's how I feel.
I'm beginning to see your attachment to Jesus. He was just a poor schmuck like the rest of us, an outcast who wanted more for others and was willing to sacrifice his life for the common good.
Jesus said in the Thomas Gospel, "The kingdom of heaven is spread upon the earth, and men do not see it."
Wow, it's here now. How awesome. I need to practice being more aware. Thanks, Nancy.
Damn, girls, we should bottle up our 300 years of experience and sell it as wisdom to the next generation. Write a self-help book, create a stage play, or make a documentary film about our trials and tribulations. If each of us was a character in a book, in 3 words or less, describe yourself.
I'm a dark horse, a very dark horse.
Okay, you're up, Marge.
I'm a steady Eddie, a very steady Eddie.
I'm a pain in the ass.
That's 4 words and you're a big pain in the ass.
What a cute one.
Oh dear, what am I? I'm totally confused.
We have a dark horse, a steady Eddie, a pain in the ass, and total confusion.
That might make for an interesting sitcom.
Do any of you think about death? I know I do. It's the only permanent date on our calendars.
We go to great lengths to avoid it. Every ad shows us perpetually young and beautiful. But what I really need to know before I meet my maker is, why does our private hair go to public places?
Ha ha, Pat.
Every day, the ticking of the clock goes by unnoticed, and maybe that's a good thing. We can practice living in the moment, each moment, as they become fewer and fewer.
If I were terminally ill, like my husband was, I'd stop eating, or jump out of a plane without a chute, or step off an ocean liner in the middle of the Pacific, swim until it's over, laughing at the cosmic absurdity of life.
Dear sweet Jesus, that's way too violent. I'd want something quiet and peaceful for my friends.
I'd like to wake up dead.
Wake up dead?
Yeah, like a good night's sleep that goes on forever.
Oh,
Continue the dream? That's a nice way of looking at it. A sleepover that never ends.
Kind of like we're doing now.
we may not end up having a choice in the matter, ladies. A plane crash or an ocean liner sinking, cancer. We may need to suffer.
Who decides that?
And how can a so-called loving God allow such pain? I never understood this. And why is escape from this pain outlawed?
I'd love to be able to call upon the spirit of Dr. Kevorkian to help my exit stage left. Hart Crane, the poet, jumped off a boat in the middle of the ocean. Hemingway used his father's shotgun, and Virginia Woolf walked into a river with rocks in her pocket. Even Jesus, metaphorically, suicided himself on the cross.
Kevorkian went to jail for helping people commit suicide.
And Jesus went to heaven for killing himself.
Jesus didn't kill himself.
Kevorkian was a martyr for a cause who suffered and died for us all. How's that any different than Jesus? He assisted in suicides that are now legal in 8 states. We should be allowed to have the dignity to choose our outcome when life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is no longer possible.
8 states will soon be 50. I just hope Florida catches up soon.
Once corporations figure out how to make money off of suicides, they'll have friggin' drive-throughs.
I'm surprised they don't just poison us with cereal and tab.
Maybe they do.
This whole conversation confuses me.
Me too.
Me too.
A knock interrupts their day. Emily opens the door.
Billy boy, what are you doing here?
I have business in Miami. Flew into Orlando, picked up a car, and wanted to see how my second favorite mom's doing in her new digs.
Gang, this is Bill, my number 3 son. He'd be perfect if he wasn't a Republican. This is Marge.
Marge, the golfer, the volunteer, and Zen Buddhist monk. You have 2 boys. Here's some golf balls.
Bill turns towards Emily and hands her Sylvia Plath's Daddy and Other Poems.
My phone conversations with Mom can get a little long, so I even know your reading habits. I got you a gift, Emily, because you were kind enough to open your house to Pat.
How'd you know I was Emily?
Your wardrobe betrays you.
Thanks. I haven't read this in years, Billy boy.
It was Daddy or Eliot's The Wasteland. Mom says you love the dark classics, so I did a coin toss and fate picked Daddy.
Oh, fate always picks daddy.
Ah, Nancy's just made her 2nd joke this month.
Oh,
Bill pulls out a Cub hat for Nancy.
Nancy, the Cub fan, bridge player, and the heart and soul of the Platinum House.
the Platinum House?
That's what Mom calls this place. I wouldn't be surprised if she's writing a routine for Second City about her experiences here. She's probably hidden cameras in the plants and the bathroom. She's always got a pet project to keep her juices flowing. In fact,
Hush, Bill, no trade secrets.
Your mom told you everything about us?
she has a big mouth.
Oh.
She's a bit of a show off.
Her mouth has a life of its own. It knows no boundaries. Everyone's her audience.
William Anthony Reynolds.
Ouch. I remember that tone. I just came by to ask you lovely ladies if I could take you out to dinner tonight.
Oh, we're cooking, dearie.
Oh, can we vote on this, Pat?
No. And where's my gift, Billy boy?
Haven't I always been enough?
That's meager compensation for carrying you and Patty around for 9 months.
Bill's phone rings. He retreats outside the door.
Is he for real?
Where did you get him? He's perfect and so handsome.
How did you train him so well? Buying us all dinner.
You just met my husband. Dead these many years, he shows up from time to time in the form of my son, Bill.
Bill re-enters the door.
I'm so sorry, ladies. I have to renege on dinner. I just got ground floor seats to the Miami Heat game tonight, and I need to drive down and get my ticket pronto. But on my way back, it's dinner for sure.
We're already cooking dinner, thank you very much. And we're having our amateur night this evening.
Amateur night sounds almost as interesting as a live basketball game. Wait, is this another opportunity for Mom's comedy routine? Again, sorry, ladies, but I'll see you all for dinner on the rebound.
Bill gives Mom a big hug and exits the door.
See, he's not so perfect.
I heard that.
I'd still trade for him.
Me too.
Scene 4, amateur night. Salsa music fills the room. Balloons float everywhere. Wine bottles stand uncorked. The ladies wear costumes.
I don't remember why we agreed to an amateur show.
No, this was a Pat idea thingy.
Ah, yes, Bill recognized it immediately. Pat wants to practice her latest material on a live audience.
We all agreed we're becoming too serious. Pat suggested this might break us out of that. And I, for one, am grateful to try anything new as long as it doesn't hurt another living being.
Guests were your idea, Marge, not mine.
I know, but that was before I realized I had no talent.
Look, fear should be long gone by our advanced ages, ladies.
I'm not afraid to fail in front of you girls. I just don't want to screw up in front of my guest.
We each invited one guest. I'm sure we all picked handsome young men, right?
Doorbell rings. Emily answers, and Brad, 40, the bronze tennis pro, carries 2 bottles of wine in. The girls swoon.
Have I got the right place? I brought a house gift. You all look so lovely. Were we supposed to wear costumes? I didn't know. Here's a white and red wine.
I'll take the wine.
Thanks for coming, Brad. I look forward to my tennis lesson tomorrow. I saved you a seat over here.
I'll sit on the other side.
Can I sit on your lap?
3 jokes in 1 month. Ah,
I'm not joking.
Doesn't your religion forbid sex until marriage?
I think it forbids it after marriage.
No, they just forbid us from enjoying it.
That's 4.
Bravo, Nancy. Very funny. Am I the first guest to arrive?
Yes.
Yes.
We can wait until the others show up before we start the show.
Pour the wine, ladies. I'd like to propose a toast to our one and only guest.
What? No, really? I did get 4 very odd, very inviting invitations that seemed a little redundant.
Very inviting.
Perhaps mine was a little overkill. Sorry, I do like to write.
I could read yours if you want, Emily.
Oh, don't you dare.
Brad feels around his pants and winks at Emily.
I left them at home. But what an honor to be your one and only guest.
More wine.
A talent show was promised 4 times. Now I understand your wardrobe, ladies.
Showtime! Marge, by the luck of the draw and the fact that you're the only one ready, commence the cheer.
Marge wears a cheerleading costume circa 1955. The high school St. Jude is emblazoned across her chest.
Give me an A.
A!
Give me another A.
A!
Give me an R.
R!
P.
P!
A-A-R-P. What's that spell?
R!
R,
R.
R, R.
R!
Marge finishes with a kind of half splits on the floor.
Well done, Marge. You
Oh.
saved that uniform from back in the day?
And you still fit into it so nicely.
Cheerleading was my thing in high school. I led a troop of young ladies who could do the splits on command.
Oh, it hurts watching you.
My hip just dislocated.
It got us all husbands in college.
I wasn't allowed on my school squad because I couldn't afford the outfit. And I couldn't do the splits.
No, I'm so sorry, Nancy. Girls at that age could be so self-absorbed. I know I was. We thought the whole world revolved around dances, boys, and football games.
Well, I would have killed to become a member of the cheerleading squad.
I would have killed myself if I became a member.
Most of us, Emily, tried to look and act alike. That's what was expected in those days. Conformity was our national religion.
Still is, Pat. Everyone say Zumba. Ready now?
Zumba!
Ah. I lost myself in that TV window, watching, craving to be that perfect little girl I saw on nightly broadcasts. The perfect child in the perfect commercial.
One perfection for all.
Oh, Pat, you always trip me up.
Sorry, it's a flaw I still need to work on.
Whoa, gals, this is supposed to be a party, not a therapy session.
Everyone turns simultaneously and stares at Brad, who looks like a deer caught in the headlights.
Well, that AARP cheer just took a dark turn. We almost put Brad into an early retirement coma.
Keep the wine coming and I can listen to almost anything, ladies. No worries. My mother and her friends have an opinion about everything.
Your mother? Is that how you see us? Your mother and her friends?
Pat, he's only here because we invited him to a dinner and a few drinks.
He's half our age, ladies.
I'm just a poor tennis instructor in a well-to-do community who's hungry and thirsty most of the time.
Pat's just offended that you see us as mother types.
Sorry, Pat, but believe it or not, my mom's my best friend.
Really?
Some of us were once professionals with dozens of people working under us, and now we're part of a system that puts old folks out to pasture.
If I didn't live at home with my mom, I'd live with you ladies. You
Oh.
discuss real issues, the substantive stuff behind all the fake stuff, not just pain medication.
Oh, we discuss pain medication too.
Are you remotely attracted to older women?
Just my mom. That's a joke.
Middle-aged women?
Not really.
To younger women?
Nope.
To women?
Oh my God, we outed you, Brad. I didn't know. We're so sorry. I'm always rubbing up against you at my tennis lessons, trying to hit on you, showing off in front of you, showing you off to all of my friends. I never knew.
Let's be honest, ladies. You'd have as much chance with me as you would with a heterosexual tennis pro in his 40s. They only cavort with the 30-year-old divorcees. I should know. I hit on those guys too.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, next up on tonight's talent show agenda, our very own resident writer, Miss Emily. An enigma for sure. Total mystery surrounds this act.
Emily roller skates while juggling 2 plastic bowling pins. She circles, drops the pins immediately, and gives high fives to all. She then plops down in a chair, exhausted.
Who knew you could skate?
Or juggle.
Or both.
My first job was at a drive-in diner as a waitress on skates, delivering shakes and burgers. I used to be able to juggle 3 pins on a unicycle. That's when I first read Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment and realized there's a much deeper world out there than our American graffiti pop culture.
Kind of a weird twist, huh, Emily? One minute it's the fluffy 50s and the next it's the existential 60s.
Our happy nature always fights with our sad nature to find some sort of balance. Very Jungian, very Zen, right, Marge? I am so relieved you're all here, providing some contrast to my brooding thoughts. Otherwise, I'd be lost. Some nights in the past, I'd walk around depressed until first light and plop down exhausted and sleep all day.
That's so sad.
Balance is everything.
Yes, it is.
We shouldn't complain too much. We've had the best of times.
We can complain, but we've got to be grateful too.
That's why I've turned my life over to Jesus, so I can stop worrying about everything.
That seems like an abdication of responsibility, Nancy.
You don't need to think anymore? Is that what you're saying?
You might as well be dead.
Life's less confusing when I let go.
Do you ladies always carry on like this? It's fascinating.
It keeps us from getting bored.
Sorry, we have so few guests, we sometimes forget when they're here.
Well, I, for one, am glad I live in a world where I can tell my friends I'm gay and they won't shun me. Although I don't dare tell my employer. So yeah, lots of things have gotten better. Some things, not so much. Florida, unfortunately, is Florida. But you're so lucky to have found each other. So lucky to be able to say anything.
Does your lifestyle bother your family?
I think it bothers them more than they let on.
That's terrible.
I feel sorry for them. They're so programmed.
Aren't we all?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, next up, Nancy.
Let me entertain you. Let me make you smile. I'll bring a few tricks, some old and some new tricks, and we'll have a real good time.
Take it off. Take it off.
Oh, what's happening to me?
Don't worry, Nancy. I think that's in the Bible. That's a dance with Salome.
You know, the woman who asked for John the Baptist's head on a platter.
I don't know what you're talking about. I was doing Natalie Wood as Gypsy Rose Lee. And Salome is not in the Bible.
Where did you get the idea for a strip tease show?
Who would have thought?
I was so afraid to do it, but I figured that's why I should do it, right, Marge? And knowing that Brad's gay made it much easier.
Nancy, I chose to be gay tonight just to help you out. And
Aw.
now I want to surprise you all. Not only am I gay, but I'm a staunch Republican.
Oh,
Uh,
you should have met my son, Bill.
Is he gay?
Not that I know of, but he's a staunch Republican.
Most Republicans are closeted types.
Most.
Do you have any statistics to back that up?
69%.
Now that's funny.
I don't hate gays. That's homophobic. But I do love Trump.
I hate Trump.
I love people who hate Trump.
I've voted for George Orwell as a write-in since 1984.
How many gay people do you know that voted for Trump?
2. Me and my boyfriend, Gary.
Gary, the personal trainer at the club?
He's gay?
Yep, that Gary. I had to change religions and become a Republican to finally get a date with him. Love is more important than religion and politics, don't you think?
I'd switch to Trump for a piece of Gary.
That's so crude, Pat.
And perhaps true.
Next up, last but certainly not least, straight from Second City in Chicago, it's our very own Tina Fey Pat.
Stand up is what I would have done with my life if I didn't have those 6 mangy kids. It's no picnic being 86. You wake up, the battle begins. You roll over and you gotta pee, right, Nancy? So you move or you pee. It all depends on whether you got depends. Plastic bed sheets are mandatory at 80, and so is a petite vibrator. Am I right, ladies? If you were a Catholic in the 50s, the biggest sin was sex, and the only birth control was guilt and girdles. Try penetrating those obstacles. My mom said men only wanted one thing, but she forgot to tell me what. And that very same mom said, Patricia, do you know why women don't smile during foreplay? Because there's never enough time. When I was little, she called the forbidden paradises up there and down there. At 12, they became known as no and never. Recently, I watched Orange is the New Black with my granddaughter. Oh my God. I finally know the difference between the 3 V's, virgin, Viagra, and vagina. And it only took me a lifetime. Being 86 makes one obsessed with death. I Googled caskets. They are so expensive these days. So I tried pet caskets and 3 popped up. Sexy Barbie. It's a pink car for a gay dog with Ken and Barbie in the front seat. That's a ride I won't ever take. And then Hello Kitty, which smells like kitty litter for eternity. And if I live 1 more year and shrink 1 more inch, I can purchase Fido's Hideaway for $49.95. Or maybe I'll just use a sandwich bag for my ashes. As time goes on, one finally understands less is more. People ask me, Pat, how would you like to die? And I say, with a scotch in one hand and Haagen-Dazs dripping all over me.
Oh, we are so lucky.
Oh, laughter unburdens the soul. I feel so light tonight.
Oh, thanks for ending the show on such a high note, Pat.
When can I move in? You ladies are adorable.
Tonight.
I can show you ladies a trick if you want. It's my only real talent, I think. Besides changing my religion and becoming a Republican, it's what won Gary over.
Go for it, Brad.
I hope it's another striptease.
Brad puts a cherry stem in his mouth and pulls up his sleeve and retrieves a coin from his pocket, holds it up, and presto, gone. Then he finds it in Marge's ear.
A quarter for your thoughts?
Gary likes that sleight of hand technique.
Then Brad pulls out the cherry stem tied in a knot.
I think Gary likes the tongue thingy.
You have no idea.
Oh, I hope this night never ends. This has been so much fun. We must declare a 5-way tie.
Mhm.
Oh, all for a tie, raise your hand.
Mhm.
Best night ever.
Aw. You are such a good soul, Marge.
I know I will feel so much lonelier tonight with my mother, seeing and feeling the gracious, loving vibe in this house.
Amen, sister brother.
Amen.
And
We'll now take a short break, and there will be a clock in the corner of your screen to cue you for when we come back for scene 5. Please stick with us.
Yes. All right. Okay. We'll just take a short 5-minute intermission, and then we'll get you back to Platinum House. We hope you're enjoying this day of theater showcase. We've enjoyed putting it on for you, and we have enjoyed all of the different things we've been doing for you this year, including launching Live from the Theater Basement, our podcast streaming show. Our streaming main stage shows, Heisenberg and Tuna Christmas, which still has 2 performances left, so be sure to get your tickets. But remember that to do all these things we're doing for you, we do need funds, and we are hoping that you will help us meet our fundraising goal this month. We had a $100,000 fundraising goal. We've gotten 80% of the way there. If you renew your membership today, you can help us get that last 20% that we need. I renewed my membership tonight, and I should be getting one of these lovely tote bags in the mail. We have some other benefits for different levels. Our memberships do range from $50 to $20,000 and everywhere in between. And every donation helps. I'm here with Al White, our previous board president, and he can tell you a little bit more about what you can do to help us here at Theatricos.
Hi, and welcome back again, and thanks for joining us. I hope you're enjoying the show. Look, I'm going to show you an ancient form of currency and of financial transaction used to be done in America. It's called a check. And this check has my name up here on the top. I'm not going to give you the address. It has an amount.
Routing numbers?
It has an amount. There we go. It has an amount, and that amount, I'm proud to say, is $500. And I'm asking you all to do the same, because I'm not a rich person. But I believe in putting my best foot forward where it matters. And I believe theater is just that kind of place. So you can do one of these, but you can also do the way you spend money today, and that's a credit card number, a pledge. You call in. You can call the box office here, 774-1662, and you can go online at theatricos.com/donation, and you can help us help you enjoy the fine art, the fine performing arts, the wonderful performing arts that get put on at Theatricos on a regular basis, year after year after year. There are a million things that need to be done here because of the pandemic. And frankly, what we really would love to see is all the assistance that you can give us to get ourselves in great shape to reopen in a spectacular fashion when we can finally have people in the theater and do what everyone really, really wants us to do here at Theatricos. We're working on our lobby. We're trying to make the best out of the situation that we're in now, where we can't have live performances necessarily in front of an audience. We are doing the best we can to get performances in front of you, as you can obviously know by watching tonight. But we need lights, we need sound, our sound booth, we need all sorts of things that we can not only maintain, but upgrade and improve to bring a better theatrical performance to you. And it's all for you, from you, by you. That's the way that's the way we make it happen. It's the way you make it happen. And I can tell you, I've yet to miss a show, and each one is wonderful in its own way. You can't really see in a filmed presentation the kinds of overall actions that you can see when you're on stage. And many of the people you'll see, you probably know, and they're out in the community. So help us any way you can. Donations, $50, $20,000, anywhere in between, anywhere on either side. Thank you very much. Back to the show.
I welcome you back to the conclusion of the Platinum House. We are now currently in scene 5. Please, actors, video up. And here we are, scene 5, the Come to Jesus meeting. The roommates lounge around. Pat eats ice cream directly from the container. Marge and Nancy compete, adding puzzle pieces to a Buddha statue. Emily is buried in a comic book.
We need to have a come to Jesus meeting.
Well, that sounds interesting, Pat, but you can come to one of my Bible study groups if you want.
No, it's only called a come to Jesus meeting because it's supposed to be honest, revealing, and forgiving. But more importantly, we'll save thousands in shrinks bills and unload our excess baggage.
A psychiatrist? I've never needed one. Or was it a psychologist? I'm not sure what the difference is.
One dispenses pharmaceutical drugs, the other pharmaceutical advice.
At least a psychologist pretends to listen before they hook you on drugs.
Let's really listen to each other, give feedback, and save money.
I'm all for saving money.
I went to a shrink for 20 years and all I got was a certificate of completion. Completion of what? 20 years, 50 years, 50 visits a year, 1,000 sessions, $100,000, and 1 million mother's little helpers. For what? What a waste of time, money, and guilt. I needed to go to a psychologist for a year just to forgive myself for going to a psychiatrist for decades.
We all fell for that crap.
Maybe Nancy knows something we don't. At least Jesus is mostly free.
What exactly were you thinking, Pat?
Girls, we're finally getting to know each other. Why don't we sit around and be honest about our past and see where it takes us? Unburden any lingering regrets and give ourselves a clean slate.
Tell secrets?
Stop stepping on eggshells. Stop being phony. I kind of like that. It's so not me.
I've lived alone for so long that I haven't shared a single important thing with anyone.
It may be good for us.
We each share one secret, one wound that might cleanse our ledgers. Perhaps we can help each other on our final journey.
Okay, but I'll need some wine first.
Nancy pours the girls a glass of wine.
Okay, so if someone says something and one of us is unclear, we can call bullshit and that person will have to defend their point of view. Does that sound reasonable?
Why would someone question someone's story?
Pat doesn't want to let us off the hook before we shuffle off this mortal coil. And seeing how she's our resident counselor, what have we got to lose?
I'll start. But on the flip side, let's also promise that what's said here stays here. So we're not afraid to share. Okay? One day I had a revelation. My mom and dad should never have been married and I shouldn't be here. My mom was quite a beauty, cultured and virtuous. My dad was handsome and loved all things rugged. Mom was an ardent Catholic and dad was an ardent nothing. They had 5 quick kids. Mom was bored, missed her cultured life. The World's Fair had opened in Chicago, the biggest event ever. When dad couldn't take mom, he asked his best friend to take her. They went, drank rum and hooked up, as they say. Mom got pregnant and had an abortion. She was excommunicated from the Catholic Church, not for the infidelity, but for the abortion. Years later, she went to a bishop, confessed her sins, and was absolved. She went back to church with a vengeance every single day. When I was in high school, I became a Catholic on my own. Mom was so proud. In my sainthood, I had 6 kids. Mom adored me. But after my Bill's premature death in 1984, nothing seemed logical. There were priests who abused children, poor people who had to choose between no sex or too many kids. I stopped going to church, and Mom was livid. I was a huge part of her redemption. Years later, there was a message. Your mother is dying. Come. I flew to her bedside and placed my hand on her chest, and she pushed it aside, took 2 shallow breaths, and died. My mother feared a human institution more than she loved me. I finally realized my mom and dad never should have married. I shouldn't be here. It all haunts me now, but my mother needed someone to blame besides herself, and I'm glad I was there for her.
She rejected you on her deathbed?
She pushed me away in her final moment. My mother made me who I am, warts and all. I forgive her. She was passive aggressive, but I'm to blame too. I withdrew. I still hope to find some peace before I die. Saying it out loud helps. Don't ever push anyone away.
It always comes back to blame. Do we blame others for the choices we make, or do we accept our own culpability? Do we learn from the past, or are we condemned to repeat it?
I want a little peace of mind when I close my eyes for the last time. A grin, not a chagrin.
I didn't know we were going to go so deep.
Oh, dear. Yeah, I don't think I can come up with anything.
Nancy, it sounds like you need to go next.
Okay, I want to get this over with. The truth is, I never got married. I just told everyone I did. If I had a husband, I'd be normal. Old maids alone are suspect. I made up the name Peter. If I'd known it meant penis, I would have picked something different like Willie.
That's funny.
Why did you make up a past, Nancy?
When I arrived at my Florida retirement community a little over a decade ago, everyone talked about colleges, husbands, kids, travel, investing, books. I felt like I had nothing. So I created a new me. I took bridge lessons, cooking classes, and hid in my Bible studies classes. When I met you all, I was so afraid I'd fail again. I just continued the husband story to fit in. I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
Oh, that's horrible. You're funny, level-headed, consistent. We're so lucky to have you in our communal experiment. We were all born with silver spoons in our mouths, and that's done nothing for our characters.
In the Gospel of John, Jesus said, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." I lost this teaching somewhere along the way.
You're a good egg, Nancy.
Oh, there's more. I lived in a small town in Nebraska where everyone knew everyone. My dad was a bartender, and we lived above a tavern. We had an outhouse. My mother sewed curtains to make a little money. I knew I was smart, but I felt stupid growing up. I continued to play slow. I was ashamed of my upbringing and my parents, and now at 85, it's almost over. And I didn't do anything with my life but lie.
Oh,
We know so little about each other.
What did you do before the retirement community?
When I turned 18, I became a secretary, and I worked for the same company for over 50 years, from one tire store to 180 stores nationwide. I did it all, but mostly I made it easier for Edward, my boss. You know, reservations, gifts for his wife, sound advice. He wanted no relationship with his son Eddie just because he smoked pot. I convinced him otherwise. When Edward died, suddenly, young Eddie stepped up and took over the business. Now it's a publicly traded company. Edward left me a good pension, but I'll cry when I say this. One day, Eddie called out of the blue and gave me 20,000 shares of the family stock. And that was my ticket to a comfortable retirement.
Were you in love with Edward?
From day one. I think I hid it pretty well because Betty liked me. She invited me to all the family functions. I guess Edward never saw me. I lived through moments of light touching, a hand or an elbow, moments that I interpreted as more than they were. I lived through Edward's family. But I needed a family to survive all those decades alone.
How brave.
We must adapt to survive.
that's so Darwinian. So the Bible thing is more of a shield you hide behind?
Yes, but I also cling to it like a close friend, my only friend. Jesus was celibate, so why couldn't I be? Bible studies where I found people who didn't judge me for my past. And that's what I needed, a community who accepted me as me.
I guess the only real qualification is to be a sinner.
I do like that about Catholics. If you show up on Sunday with a plump envelope of money, they'll forgive you for anything.
I'm not that cynical about the church, Pat.
Thornton Wilder said, "There's a land of the living and a land of the dead, and the bridge is love."
And remember, everyone, uncooked people delight in the gaudy, well-formed people delight in the ordinary.
Which are we?
I think we're ordinary sinners, but we can forgive too, can't we?
Emily slouches to the floor with a ukulele and sings.
My depression is my confession. My confession is my depression.
You are not depressed. You are wonderful.
Whoa, Nancy. Emily hurts all the time. She hides it well.
Okay, here's my taboo-ridden story. My dad abandoned me when I was 7. He hung himself. I have taken medication in the past, but it always seemed to make matters worse. As a child, I was told to buck up. How do you outgrow seeing your father swinging in the garage? I wanted to see a counselor, but Mom said no shrinks in my family. That's how she dealt with it, like it never happened. I hid inside my books. I wanted to rebel. I drank and drugged for a while, but it poured fuel on the fire. I slit my wrist once. Mom was cold and my brother was cast aside. He's more lost than I am. He doesn't have books or roommates to lean on. The dark hours are fewer now and farther apart. There's so little time left for me to forgive myself. I know I didn't do anything wrong, but I still have this deep pain of not belonging. I must be guilty of something, right? I guess you could say I had the all-American family.
Emily, where's this misplaced pain go?
Well, I've always directed it towards myself. I've got to stop this vicious cycle, and believe it or not, you're all helping. I don't need my meds anymore. I'm not afraid to say anything here, and that feels like forgiveness. To error is human, to forgive divine.
Amen.
Do you want to contribute, Marge?
How can I possibly follow those powerful stories?
Give it a try. You might surprise yourself.
Okay, what have I got to lose? One thing I never told you was in my house, I had to be a perfectionist. I couldn't stop for a moment and relax. Always little Miss Perfect because my dad was the great Santini, literally.
Was he a magician? Who was the great Santini?
Well, he's a literary figure. Pat Conroy, a Southern writer, wrote about his father, the great Santini, who stayed a military man long after he was discharged from service and ran his home like a drill sergeant. That's awful, Marge.
I couldn't have said it better. Thanks, Emily. Up at 5 a.m., march to the flagpole, hand to heart, pray to the United States of America, done with breakfast by 6 a.m., study another hour before school, anything less than an A merited a week in my room, home from school, check the chore board, help mom with dinner, more studying, bed by 9 p.m., no dreams allowed. I became dutiful, obedient, the champ. Kept me safe. I don't think he even knew he hit me. Dead these many years, his growling voice still colors every imperfect thing I do.
Why's this dead man's voice still in your head?
I was never good enough. I was never complete. I was never free to be me. So I had to be little Miss Perfect.
Amen to that, sister.
That's me in a nutshell.
You're not alone, Marge.
Something happened to each of us, something that affected our natural development and stunted our full potential. We must get out of our own way and let go before it's too late.
Why didn't I let myself be more vulnerable?
Maybe each of us only gets the baggage we can handle.
Maybe we should hug more and talk less.
They all hug. Scene 6, the Last Supper. A dinner table displays a festive meal. A birthday cake for Marge with 2 candles shaped like an 8 and a 4.
That was delicious. I've never had lamb chops quite like those, glazed to perfection. And in the cream spinach, did I taste nutmeg?
Yep, Mom's recipe. She may still be the best cook ever. Her pies were out of this world.
Well, why didn't you make one?
Because I was too busy buying a birthday cake.
My mom was a good cook up until Dad disappeared her.
Disappeared her.
She wandered around the house like a zombie. She stopped contributing because Dad always put her down. Years later, I found out she and the postman met secretly on Wednesday afternoons.
Oh.
I'm so glad she had some joy in her life. Maybe Dad sensed it. Maybe that's why he was always angry. He wouldn't associate with anyone. He got more demanding, more abusive until she finally disappeared. When I was 15, she died of heart failure.
A broken heart. That's so sad.
Happy birthday to you, Marge. You are a miracle.
We all are. We share so much in common.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to dear sweet Marge. Happy birthday to you.
Marge blows out the 8 and the 4, but looks very winded.
I'm pooped. Thanks one and all for the best year of my life. We started this experiment near my last birthday, and who'd have thought we'd be here now and still growing? I don't want this glorious adventure to ever end. I'm going to read a little Zen and crash hard. If you cannot find the truth right where you are, where do you expect to find it?
Oh, won't you stay for just one small sliver of cake?
I'll have a big piece tomorrow. It will give me something stupendous to dream about.
Marge then exits.
How does she do it? Up before all of us, golf, tennis, and she's hiked her 10,000 steps before dinner. She must think the great Santini's still watching.
He's too good to be true.
I think she's right. This has been one of the best years of my life.
It's never too late to grow, is it?
Never.
Ever.
Well, good night, ladies.
Good night.
All three disperse towards their rooms. Scene 7, the final curtain. Emily cooks. The morning's ritual is in full swing. Pat attempts to sit in yoga posture while doing a crossword puzzle. Nancy enters without her crucifix and her hair looking sexier than ever.
Well, look at you, Miss Nancy.
Oh, just trying something new.
Last word, 8 letters ending in L regarding attitude toward life.
Grateful?
Bingo.
Ha.
Do you know what I'm fixing this morning?
Ooh, pray tell.
Pizza eggs.
What's that?
Well, it's pizza crust with tomatoes, cheese, pesto sauce, bacon, and eggs over medium. Probably not the healthiest meal. I could add kale.
Oh, never you mind on that kale. Some of us don't want to live forever.
Yeah. And anything's better than cereal.
Where's Marge?
Oh, probably doing 5,000 steps before breakfast to show off.
She was going to pay bills this morning. I'll check her room.
Pat disappears. We hear knocking and calling, "Marge," in the distance. Pat runs back to the living room, stricken.
Oh my God. Oh my God. She woke up dead. She
What?
woke up dead.
What? No.
No way. She woke up dead.
Pat nods and points towards the bedroom. Emily and Nancy leave the room. We hear gasps and they return. Emily has a diary in hand.
She looks so peaceful.
Angelic.
Almost happy.
Why do the best die first?
When I grow up, I want to be just like Marge. She saw everything so clearly.
She taught us so much. I need to sit down. And then we need to call someone.
This can't be real. This can't be.
All this time, Marge kept a diary beside her bed.
Did you know, Nancy?
No, but we are not going to read any of that, Pat.
Maybe we should read some of it. Let's vote.
Well, maybe if it can help us understand a little, Nancy. Just the first and last entry?
All agree, nodding. Emily opens the diary, reads as Marge's voice fills the stage.
Day 1.
I'm here. I'm used to living alone, having things my own way, but the extra money will come in handy. These are fascinating women, experienced with full lives. Nancy never seems to put her Bible down. Emily hides in her depression near the sink, and Pat thinks she runs the show. Time will tell, but patience is a virtue, so I'll watch and wait and keep chugging along. Zen is the art of doing nothing well.
Well, she saw each of us so clearly from day 1.
Ooh, amen.
Here's what she wrote last night. Day 364.
Great meal tonight. Pat's mom's recipe. I think I overdid it. I'm exhausted, but in a good way. It was the best birthday of my life. I feel so light. I've made lifelong friends. Nancy's peeling away her false layers and becoming one of the gang. Emily's hiding less, and she's damn funny too. Pat even votes sometimes. They all get me. They really get me. That's all you can ask for in life. A few friends who really know you. No reading tonight. Off to bed to that great dream world in the sky and a big piece of birthday cake in the morning. Oh, Zen in its essence is the art of seeing into the nature of one's being, and it points the way from bondage to freedom.
Oh, wow. What a way to go, Marge.
What a way to go.
She really saw into our natures.
From bondage to freedom.
She woke up dead.
She woke up dead.
Wow.
That must be heaven.
Must be.
I can't wait.
They hug and fade out. Characters, please come on, everyone. Thank you all for joining us for our presentation of the Platinum House. Here are your cast of characters. Please take a virtual bow if you would. In closing, I'd like to thank Pat and Bob Reynolds for writing. Here I am. For writing this wonderful story for us and for Theatricals Theater Company, and in particular, Chris Verrill, John Propster, and Allison Ballou for their extra effort in this production and making this possible. Good night, everyone. Have a safe and happy holiday. Thanks for joining us.
You start. Start. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon and evening for our theater showcase and sneak peek. We have really enjoyed putting this on for you, and we've had so much fun all year putting on all of our new projects and keeping you entertained. And we thank you for all of the support you've given us over the years. And we hope that you enjoyed our program enough to renew your membership for next year and to buy season tickets or flex passes for the 2021 season. We're really, really excited to be putting on this great lineup of shows for you. Al?
Thank you, Michael. This candy cane can be yours. We will start the bidding at $50 of basic membership. If you're 55, do I have 60? Looking for 70, give me 70, give me 80, 100, 150, $200, $20,000. $20,000. Hell of a candy cane. These are the things that make it fun to ask you for money. And I hope you understand that what we provide here is an essential service, in my mind, for the sanity of a community that cherishes the arts, cherishes the togetherness that live theater brings. And the truth is that we can't do it without your help, without your money. If you enjoyed tonight and if you've been here before and enjoyed the plays, help us out. Help us be more successful in the future than we've been in the past. And that's a tall order. But I think the community is up to it. I know all of you are, and I appreciate it. Candy Cane's still here for the highest bidder.
But not until Tuna Christmas closes. That's a set dressing.
All right. Thanks again.
And we're out.